Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of this series about building a custom homemade pinball machine. I hope you enjoyed the first video and you get some ideas or hints about your own projects. And before starting, one thing I forgot to say in the first episode, that is, this is a low budget project. Think about that the total cost will be approximately 350 euros compared to a real pinball that can cost from 4,000 to 10,000 euros. And how can be this achieved? Basically by buying raw materials and building everything from scratch without building real pinball parts. And in this episode we are going to cover first some more details about the cabinet and the playfield removal, and then we will move on to the launcher mechanism, which is one of the core parts of every pinball machine. So let's start.
In this part of the video we are going to see the cabinet glass. To place the glass on my pinball, I created a frame on top of the cabinet and carved a groove with an angular grinder. It took about 2 hours as I was not expert with this tool, but the result is satisfying. As you can see, the glass falls into the groove and aligns with the wood surface of the external part of the frame. The effect seems good, but there is still one missing detail. I added 3 aluminium bars to cover the joint between the glass and the wood. The overall look now seems better. To continue the description of the cabinet, let's talk about playfield removal. Here is the handle to be used for this operation.
So here, as you can see, we have the upper glass of the cabinet. Here is how you can remove it from the cabinet. You just move away the glass. As you can see, you have the wooden inserts where you can put the glass right here, and if you want you can also remove just the playfield part to work with it when you are designing the components. You pick the handle that we have here in the front part, you move away the playfield from the cabinet, and then you can work with it. This is the back part, as you can see, and the front one. If you want to keep back, just insert the playfield inside the cabinet. This one, sorry, this, and then position it back in its original position. So, now that we've seen some details on the cabinet and the playfield removal, we can move on to an interesting mechanism that is the ball launcher. So let's see how it works.
The ball launcher, or plunger, is the part responsible for kicking the ball into the playfield. For this pinball, I decided to create an auto launcher that can be controlled by a button or directly by the microcontroller. In the initial prototype, we tried with a simple coil to trigger the mechanism, but to have more strength we opted for a DC motor. So now let's see how it works. So this is the auto launcher mechanism. As you can see, we have a DC motor that will control this rubber band here and this metal plate that takes the ball and kicks it towards the playfield when the DC motor activates. This is the control board that is connected directly to the push button here. So let's see a demonstration of the launcher. Let's switch on our pinball. As you can see, here we have the power supply, the control board of our launcher. This is the motor, and now let's hit the button. you can see, the motor will push the ball launcher and the ball will be kicked towards the playfield. Now that we have described the core mechanism, let's see how balls move from the playfield to the launcher. Before going to the launcher, the balls that exit the playfield are collected in the ball trough. In this pinball we have the capability of 3 balls which can be hit by a coil to move towards the launcher. This is just a simulation of how the mechanism will work when controlled by the Arduino board. I place an optical sensor to detect when the ball arrives to the launcher pod and it is ready to be thrown into the playfield. This is the result with the optical sensor on top of the launcher. And look, here there is the red LED that lights on when the ball is inside the pod. The board will communicate the presence of the ball to the main Arduino board. After some tests with the launcher, I had to deal with the fact that the ball was not launched straight into the playfield, so I decided to apply some modifications. The first was to change the shape of the pod to better envelop the ball and launch it to the correct direction. The second one is a solution I also noticed in real pinballs, that is to carve the playfield to obtain a sort of path that guides the ball in the initial acceleration phase. This solution seems to work properly in my pinball. Together with the modification of the launch lane, I also moved the optical sensor from the top to the left of the plunger pod. I noticed it's easier to mount and unmount and also allows making tests faster. To finish the launcher description, we can finally see the one-way gate that we use to let the ball come into the playfield and avoids that it falls again back into the launcher pod. Unfortunately, the right return lane is overlapped with the launcher lane because I made some measurement errors, so I had to block the lane with this cylinder.
So this is all for this episode. Thank you for watching and see you next time, where we will cover new mechanisms like pop bumpers and drop targets. So thank you for watching and see you next time.